The demon's glowing eyes bored into him, and his voice, though barely a whisper, echoed like thunder through the crypt. "You cannot escape what has been written in blood." With a final, desperate surge of strength, the man gripped the ancient dagger and lunged at Azazel. But the demon was faster, much faster. A blackened hand shot out, catching him by the throat with terrifying force. The man gasped for air, his feet leaving the ground as Azazel lifted him effortlessly. The dagger fell from his grip, clattering onto the stone floor. "Fool!" Azazel spat, his breath hot against the man's face. "Did you truly believe you could stop what has been set in motion for centuries? You are nothing but another link in the chain." As his vision began to blur, the man's mind raced. The stories he had heard growing up, the warnings he had ignored, they all came rushing back to him. His family had made a pact with Azazel long ago, trading power and fortune for their souls, and one by one, the demon had come to collect. The man was the last of his bloodline, the final offering. Azazel dropped him to the floor, and he crumpled like a ragdoll, gasping for breath. The torch flickered violently as the air grew colder and the darkness seemed to thicken, as though the crypt itself was alive, feeding off the terror that hung in the air. But then, as Azazel moved to finish him, a thought flashed through his mind, one last, desperate idea. The pact, the bloodline. If the curse was tied to his family's blood, then perhaps he could sever it. Grabbing the dagger once more, he turned the blade on himself. With a single swift motion, he plunged it deep into his own chest. The pain was immediate, searing, but so was the effect. The crypt trembled violently, and Azazel let out a roar of fury as the pact was broken. "No!" the demon screamed, his voice reverberating off the ancient stone walls. His red eyes flared, burning with rage. "You cannot break what is bound by blood." But it was too late. The curse, tied to the bloodline, had ended with him. As his vision faded, the man felt the weight of the curse lifting, the centuries-old chain finally broken. Azazel's form began to dissolve, the shadows pulling him back into the darkness from which he had come. The mansion groaned under the strain, its foundations cracking as the unholy pact unraveled. The crypt, once a place of eternal torment, was now silent. The demon was gone, banished back to the void, and the last heir of the cursed bloodline lay still on the cold stone floor. The mansion, now empty, stood as a silent tomb, a monument to the family's tragic history and the man who had finally broken the chain of suffering. But the darkness was never truly gone. It lingered in the air, waiting. And one day, someone else would find themselves drawn to the mansion's decaying halls, unaware of the horrors that had transpired there. Because the curse always finds a way. Subscribe and like for more, or you will be the next target of Azazel.